So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
What's up, everyone? For our second episode of our Best of Week. We did albums yesterday. Today we'll be diving into TV. And surprisingly, there's a lot to talk about. But before we get into that, I'll introduce the co-host and special guest. As usual, we have D with us. What's up, D?
What's up, everybody? I'm here. If you hear children in the background, they're fine. I promise.
The children are fine. We can assure you.
For now,
right?
they're okay.
For now, at least, yeah. And we also have Courtney and her cool hoodie. What's up, Courtney?
Shout out to my dad for this hoodie. Thanks, Dad. He did a good job.
And as you see, we have a special guest with us today. If you watched our Don't Call This a Podcast Election 2020 miniseries, then you may have seen her there. But if you don't tune into the show, then she may be a new face. We have Soph with us. How's it going, Soph?
Hey, how are you? Thanks all for having me.
Oh yeah, thanks for joining us. So yeah, we'll be going into the best TV shows of this year. And like I said, there's a lot to talk about. But before we go into that, I'm going to toss out a few questions. I just wanted to blindside everybody with a few questions. First, what's something that you were looking forward to this year that let you down? D, I'm asking you because I feel like we have the same answer.
The Outsider. It's the Outsider.
Yeah,
it's
the
100% the Outsider.
100% the Outsider. So if you can't tell, the Outsider won't make my list. Courtney, was there something you were looking forward to this year?
I was gonna say the Outsider too.
Okay, cool. The Outsider is it's winning.
I was actually just thinking about it, and I was like, it was on my list. I was like, dang.
So what about you?
Mine's actually a little different. I love the American Crime Story series that Ryan Murphy does. And this year he was doing the Bill Clinton scandal with Beanie Feldstein as Monica Lewinsky. It was supposed to be this year. I think it's coming out next year. So
that sounds awesome.
That does sound really awesome, actually.
Yeah,
I was ready to see review it.
Yeah, I do like the American crime series. Like it's well done. So my second question, as you all know, I hope you know, we had a period of quarantine this year. So what's something that may be old, an older show that you may have rediscovered, or something that like you initially slept on that you end up watching and enjoying? So D, do you have one like an old show that you're like, hey, I guess I'll watch this. I have nothing better to do with my free time now.
No, but I will. I had intention to catch one, and it's not very old, but it's old enough, and that's Snowfall. And the reason I couldn't is because
the kids.
They're always here. So yeah, but Snowfall is what I would say I was planning to watch. That was my intention. So I'll probably still watch it once I can sneak some time, without because they like to repeat things now, and you know how that goes.
What about you, Courtney?
So it wasn't anything like specific. So like there were because I'm like really big about food. I really love food. I'm like a food nerd. So something I thought came out this year but was old was like the Saul, Acid, Fat, and Heat, which was like such a good docu-series. And I'm just like, it came out in 2018. And I was like, how have I not known this existed? Because it's just so, if you love anything about food, and even like it goes into food science and it makes it so fun and interesting. I'm just like, I felt like annoyed at myself that I hadn't seen it before. And it's just like a really masterfully done series that I love. And now I want the cookbook too. So
the cookbook is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you, Soph? Do you have anything that you may have ignored but you picked up during quarantine?
I actually have two. They're very similar. I watched Newsroom with Jeff Daniels, who was really phenomenal in it, which was funny because while he was filming Newsroom, he was also filming Dumb and Dumber 2, and like completely different roles. And I liked it because it combined my love of political history and journalism. So I thought it was really, really well done. Very short show. And then of course Succession, which came out in 2018.
Yes.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm ready for season 3. I was just like, I was so good. That last 15 minutes of season 2 was some of the best TV I've ever seen in my life. So amazing.
You know what wasn't on the rewatch list today because they fumbled it so poorly in the end that it's so bad that you couldn't even be rewatchable during a pandemic is Game of Thrones. That's all I was saying. You fumbled that so poorly that I couldn't even rewatch the first season during a pandemic. Oh, and like
I had a
been
personal bet with myself. I was like, how long are we going to have to wait for the Game of Thrones mention? Because I knew it was coming. And you didn't let me down. I had it at 10 minutes.
D stepped away, but like because you feel very similar to me. Is that they fumbled the end of Game of Thrones so poorly you couldn't even rewatch it during a pandemic?
Yeah, it's like you watch the beginning and you see the brilliance and you're like, oh my gosh, they want to fuck it up. So you just like stop watching.
It makes you sick to your stomach. You're just like, I'm not gonna get reinvested just to get hurt again. I'm not.
Yeah, it's that. I feel like that with that. I tried to watch The Leftovers again and I kind of had the same feeling. Although I probably will watch that one again. And True Blood. Same thing. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this again.
You just can't because you just know. Once you know, you just can't unknow. It's very Dave and Dan, you better never see me in public ever. I'll go to jail.
She means that.
I mean it. You better never see them
like every opportunity she gets. She
I threaten them more than like I do someone by the name of Schmidt McConnell, which has to be a lot. So.
So I have 2 shows that I discovered during quarantine. I think I mentioned the first on a previous episode of this show. It's an anime that people told me I should watch, and I ignored it. But I finally picked it up, flew through all 4 seasons. My Hero Academia. During the time where the world like sucked.
You just started watching that this year.
Yeah, I told you that. Yeah, it's right. Really the most uplifting. Just
because we were bullying you about that. That's right. Show.
Yeah, it's amazing. So if you haven't seen that, watch it.
Plus Ultra.
Go Beyond Plus Ultra. Also, an Italian show, Gomorrah. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still like midway through, but it's pretty good. Watch that. It's pretty good. So
what's it on? What is it streaming?
Yeah, it's it was on Prime when I was watching. I'm not sure if it's still on Prime, but it was produced by it was produced that's my mom, by the way.
Hey, mama.
Yeah, it was produced by like it was a co-production by it's not BBC, it's on what's the channel? I'll think of the channel.
AMC.
But, AMC.
The BBC I was like, what does England have to do with this?
Right. So it was produced by Canal Street and AMC. It's a really good show. It was a movie by I think it's Pablo Sorrentino, and then they later created a show based on it. But Gaetano from Fargo, he stars in Gomorrah. That's what led me to pick out the show. So yeah. So
he's a nut.
He is. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into our list. And so since you're the guest, first I want to ask if I know you said you had 10. Do you have any honorable mentions that were like right outside of your top 10 before you get into those?
Yeah, I think I had 2. Mine would definitely be actually no, I'll just go with one of them because maybe I'm not going to consider that. And there's What We Do in the Shadows. I thought I started that a few days ago. I finished it. Mm-hmm. I never have laughed so hard in my life. It was so funny. I love those mockumentary style comedies where it's just a lot of satire. Nick Kroll's in it for a little bit, and I love him, even though I don't like Big Mouth. I think he's very funny on his own. So that would be like my honorable mention. I'll go with that one.
All right. Well, go ahead, get into your top 10.
Sure. Okay. So my top 10, I think the only one that would be like the number one where the rest is kind of out of order is this docu-series. I was telling Courtney about it, actually. I think earlier, The Comedy Store. I love stand-up comedy. I am a huge fan of the history behind it. I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan. I love Bobcat Goldthwait, like all of those comedians that started there. And it really showed not only like the history, but the mental health issues that went with it. You know, just kind of how it went from, you know, the Johnny Carson show was like the big way you broke into sitcoms, into what we're seeing now with stand-up specials. I thought it was really cool just to see all of that there with all of these comedians that I've been watching for years. So that would be my number one.
We did have a convo because I have a conspiracy that SNL is like one of the worst places to work for, and it's very toxic. And you're like, oh, there's something about that talks about that. So I'm convinced SNL has to be one of the worst places ever.
Well, I watched the Belushi doc, which obviously isn't, you know, a TV show, but that gets into that too. And they kind of talked about SNL, but they talked more about like the mental health. And I think it really goes with what you're seeing and how mental health in the entertainment industry in general, not just comedy, is just like very upsetting. So that's definitely the one that I would consider my number one. It was just really well done. And I think it was definitely kind of swept under with everything going on. And I found it and I was like, this is like the best thing I've ever watched. So that's my number one. But the rest, totally out of order, are The Politician. I just love that it combined like this Wes Anderson style with like what I was doing when I was an undergrad. I thought it was super cool. Schitt's Creek, of course, Emily in Paris, Hollywood, Tiger King, The Good Place, Selling Sunset. I do love a little bit of that reality drama. High Score, which was this amazing docu-series on the video.
Yeah,
it was so good, so interesting, so visually appealing. That's why I liked it.
But it's like so good, but like the least likable people ever.
What do you say?
It's like so good, but it also has like some of the least likable people ever.
Exactly.
But also it's so good.
I liked it more visually. I thought it was like super, super cool visually. That's why it definitely made it up there for me. And then my last one was also just talking to Courtney about this one was the Hillary docuseries. I'm not the biggest Hillary Clinton fan policy wise, but seeing her story and seeing how women are treated within politics, I thought was really, really important. And it was really moving. Parts of it were incredibly moving. There were some moments where I was like, I don't know if this needed to be in there, but everything else was just, it was interesting. And it was cool to see kind of the backstage of what went on in 2016. So those were my top 10.
All right. So Courtney, you're up.
So go to Courtney, but I have 10, so it works. Go ahead, Courtney.
All right.
Go ahead,
So like I said, mine have like no particular order. And this isn't like the best shows, but shows that I liked or like I thought had a good place in 2020. One is the reboot of Animaniacs. Fantastic, amazing. And honestly, I have to rewatch the old one, but I'm like, in ways, it's better than the original, which is like, so you're not supposed to say that. But I like certain things that they fix, like how Dot says she's clever and stuff and not cute, and how they're just still so with it. I'm just like, yes. One that almost like I don't have honorable mentions, but like, and we talked about this that almost like made honorable mention territory, but it's still my top 10 is Lovecraft Country. And the only thing that made me it's like with it was what happened with, you know, the Emmett Till thing. That was just like, but other than that, I think it was an impactful show, and hopefully people, you know, will give more attention to, you know, all Black casts, you know, where it's all Black protagonists and the writers, everyone in the was Black. So I really liked it. It would have been probably top 2 for me if it didn't have the Emmett Till scene. And yeah, Ron's on The Boys. Love that. Love that show. It's just so good. Anytime, and like it's so my favorite scene from the whole season is when they mocked, you know, Marvel's like, you know, fake feminism moment, but it was badass because it's like, who doesn't want to watch like a bunch of women just beat up a Nazi? Girls Get It Done. It's my favorite. Mandalorian, of course, because Star Wars. Queen's Gambit, which Ron and Dee bullied me to watch, and I ended up loving it. And in my mind, I have like created a canon in my mind where it's me, but with Pokemon cards. So that's me. The last dance that was this year, that was crazy that was this year. I really enjoyed that. So my messy drama thing is Love is Blind. excellent television. Like it doesn't have to be really like good or well done to be like excellent. Like that was like just like the messy reality TV, like that's from classic reality TV. I will do a whole dissertation on how I love or like Flavor of Love and I Love New York are some of the best bits of in TV history. I will fight you on it. I'm gonna count it because part 2 of this was in 2020 in January. It was Bojack Horseman. I really liked how they wrapped up that show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. So because part 2 of the show was in January, I'm counting it. Fight me on it. Again, I'm a huge food nerd. I love food docuseries. That was like a lot of my 2020 is street foods, Latin America. Last year they did Asian or just kind of like East Asian countries, which was so good. This year they did Latin American countries, and I just love to see. I have a hatred of food shows where it's just like this white man just going to places, and there's a lot of those right now. This is boring. I was like, why am I watching this rich dude eat stuff and being annoying towards locals? But this is one of those shows where it's like truly about locals. They interview locals, and it's not just their food, but their lives. It's like, how did this restaurant come to be? So like you're not only just learning about the food, but like their personal dishes and who they are. And I really appreciate that. High Score is one of mine because it's really entertaining. I also like to watch stuff about people I don't like for some reason. I love to hate. I'm just one of those people. And that guy, there's a guy on there, I forget his name. I just want to punch him. I forget his name, but he's like one of the least likable people in existence to me. I just don't like him. But it's a really good, like an interesting docuseries, and I really recommend it. And let me see, is that everything? I think that was 10. Yeah, that was my 10. So, but yeah.
You thrive off negativity.
I really do thrive off of negativity. And my mom's not watching right now because she's on her way home from the pharmacy because she forgot that we were premiering. So that's on you, Mom. But because we used to sit down together as a family and watch Flavor of Love when I was in middle school. So if you ever want to know why I am the way I am, it's because of that.
I mean, it was a cultural moment. So
it was a cultural moment. It really was. And like I feel like anyone that denies that they watch that show is just, you're not very fun. I'm sorry. Like that was like a big moment in American television, whether you would want to admit it or not. So
it's great.
And I'm not gonna say Tiger King. I'm sick of people talking about it, and I don't like it. I kind of can I go like, after everyone's done, I want to go on a rant about it, please.
No, you know what? Get into it now, please.
Okay, because all right, it's a stupid show. Like I get it for like a messy thing, but I think sexism plays a part, but we should have walked away from the show hating everybody involved. But people liked, I don't even remember his name anymore, but people liked him and like were like wanting him out of jail. And I'm just like, okay, but like, yeah, Carol, she's bad. Carol Baskin sucks too. But
yes,
so does he. He literally, yeah, she killed her husband. And it's hilarious. Yes. Thank you. See, your mom has taste, Ron. But I just don't understand. And I think people just hate women. I really think people just hate women because it's like this dude is literally he grooms younger men. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that people were okay with that. Like,
was it 3 of them?
Yeah, 3. And then one thing is like I didn't like about the show is that they constantly misgendered a trans man the whole time. And I got vibes. I was like, I wonder if this is a trans man. They misgendered him the whole time. And that was probably the only person that was kind of decent. I guess I'm like, well, you know what? You shouldn't be there, but like I get you're there for the animals. But the only person I'm like, I don't completely hate you. But everyone else, we should have come out there like, oh, everybody sucks. But people came out liking this guy, and I'm just like, one, that's white privilege. One, that's just male privilege out there. Like, no one should like this dude. He tried to, he put a hit out on somebody. Like, he exploited workers. He just is a terrible person. Everyone in this show is so terrible. But this guy came out a celebrity. Like, and he's MAGA, and people were like, oh, so anti-MAGA, and they're like, Yeah, the one his finger fell off, and like the tradesman, he lost his arm. I'm like, I would have been out of there after that, but I'm like, I guess you're dedicated to the animals. But
I'm sorry, that's my favorite part of the show where he throws on the EMT jacket.
I'm not gonna lie, I was entertained.
I'm never going to recover from this financial hit.
That was like, it was hilarious, but I just like, I think that I would have a different scope of it if people didn't treat it the way it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it should have been like hate watched the whole time. Which is how I felt. I'm just like, how are you liking people?
I didn't understand people liking him, especially watching it as like a vegan and how they treated the animals and like how I just hated all of them. But it was definitely, I hope people took something away, but unfortunately, I don't. I think you're right.
Like, I'm like, okay, but like, we should hate Carol Baskins, but the thing is, like, to me, she's less hateable than the Tiger King dude. Because
the show was edited in a manner that cut out all the racial slurs that he used to make him more likable. So it was presented to make him likable and make her the villain. So yeah, it was very much manipulated to make you like this guy.
It just, like I said, I see it as something you should hate watch, and then also like look into the builds. Like those zoos should not exist, period. Including Carol Baskin Zoo should not exist, period. It should have been like that. Like, please pay attention and support this bill. But no, it's like, and like I think people get, and this is just a whole different rant. People fall way too into the memes, and they just like instead of just letting memes be memes. They take it too far and bring something into cultural relevancy that should never have been. Like, we're talking about like the Gun Girls, the Tommy Laurens. Like, instead of just making fun of people and bullying them and leaving it at that, you take it too far. And now they have a bag that you handed to them. But I'm done with my rant.
Well, people love mess, so that's why it's what it is. Like, that's just true. We just love mess,
and they just love problematic people. I think people just love problematic people. I think that's it too.
So speaking of mess and problematic people, let's get into Dee's list.
It's me. I'm glad your mama's on here. You see how you treat me? You see, I didn't do anything. I'm glad she sees this. So what I'm going to do is, because I want to cheat and I have more than 10, I'm not going to mention the shows that I enjoyed that Soph and Courtney already mentioned. I'm just going to mention the ones that we haven't said so. But speaking of misgendering people, P-Valley is on my list. And one of the things that I loved the very most about P-Valley is that there is a character that goes by the name Uncle Clifford, but no one in the show misgenders her ever. And it's amazing. It's like you're waiting for the people who don't even like her to say he, and they never do. They always say she. So
it's a comment.
I love it.
Thank you, Mama. Can't wait. Yeah.
Devs, and I'll let Ronnie get into that one because I'm sure he's got a lot to say. Insecure, of course. Didn't that end this year? That ended this year, right?
Yeah. No. That was.
Put it on my list anyway.
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah, it's like it feels like pre-pandemic was 2019, but you have to remember it was 2020. That was Bojack Horseman for me. Yeah, that was Bojack Horseman. I was like, oh, that was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Pre-panoramic. But the end of that season, the finale was just, it shocked the world. So I loved it. Fargo season 4. And also I wanted to mention that is a show that I discovered because Ronnie bullied me into watching it. And it's great. Season 2 is awesome.
We bully each other in our group chat all the time, by the way.
Soph said The Politician. Sex Education is my other one.
Oh, yep, that should have been on my list.
It's ridiculous, and I love every moment of it because it's so ridiculous. Like, I don't know if it can get more ridiculous than it is. Well, The Politician is probably more ridiculous, but Sex Education. And I feel like it's something else. Oh, I wanted to make sure still I mentioned The Good Place because I know Soph mentioned it, but I love the show so very much that I really just wanted to mention it again because I really want people to watch. Like, it's just such a great show. It ended well. It started well because as a matter of fact, I love the show so much. I still don't tell people the thing. Like, I won't tell them. I just say, watch it. Because I don't want to ruin it. Like, I want you to feel the same way I felt when the thing happened because it's that beautiful. It's just awesome. So I think as far as top shows, A Good Place is probably it, just because it ended. It's like a complete thing. But other than that, Umbrella Academy. That's my other one.
That's on my list to watch this weekend. By the way, I'm probably gonna watch it when I start The Wire too.
Yeah, Umbrella Academy. And as your mom mentioned, The Boys. But we had a whole podcast about The Boys. But yeah, so I think that rounds out everything for me. We talked. I mean, Lovecraft. I thought it was important. I was glad it happened. It's sad that one misstep is such a huge one that it kind of turned people away.
Kind of tainted, yeah.
Yeah, but the show as a whole was still wonderful, and I definitely still recommend people watch it. Yeah, that's all mine, I think. It may not have been 10, but my 10 rounds out with things that Courtney and Sophie have already said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Politician too. Like, I know I don't think it's as popular as it should be, but y'all should be watching The Politician because it's ridiculous and it's hilarious, and you'll have fun watching it just because it's and I wish I could remember his name. Soph, do you know the main character's name? Peyton, okay. But he's the one from Pitch Perfect, right? When he in Pitch Perfect?
I think Ben Platt was. Yeah, I think so.
If you don't watch it for anything else, he sings a song in the first season for his friend River, and his voice, like, it's beautiful. I can't even explain it anything other than the fact that his voice is just amazing, and you should watch it just so you can go to that scene. Like, if you don't watch the show, just go to the scene where he sings the song and you'll be happy you watched it. Yeah, watch The Politician. Make sure you watch The Good Place and watch P-Valley.
All right, so I'm going to get into my list, and it's going to be pretty long-winded, so bear with me. But first, I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. First is P-Valley. P-Valley is a show I typically don't go for. It's not my bag, but I watched it, and I surprisingly liked it. It has a really great cast, like a cast of people who are probably going to be stars because they work so great together. They have great chemistry. Also, for my two other honorable mentions, Courtney, you may kick me off the show for this, but I think this just speaks to the strength of TV this year. Is like not indicative of like the quality of these shows. The Mandalorian and The Boys. I didn't make my top 10.
I better hear the rest of the top. I have to hear the rest of the top 10.
All right. My top 10 is good. My top 10 is good. I promise you. So at 10, and I really flip-flop with this one. Like, at first, Mandalorian was 10, and this was the honorable mention.
Thank you, Ron's mom.
It's Lovecraft Country. Even with that big misstep, it's still number 10 because that's, you just don't see that. Like, that's a really significant moment for TV to see, like, an all-black adventure show, and I'm not just giving it praise because of that, because it actually was a good show.
It's sci-fi.
Sci-fi, right? So yeah, to see that on TV, it was a very significant moment, and yeah, it's my number 10. Even with the misstep, I trust Misha Green and the rest of her team enough to, if there is a season 2, you know what, they'll get it right. We
don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but by all accounts, there's going to be a season 2. But I do trust her team enough to get it right if there's a season 2. Like, her heart was in the right place.
Do y'all want a season 2?
I absolutely do not want to.
Y'all want a season 2?
Unless it's
not because the show's not, unless it's in and not because we don't like the show, but because I think that Hollywood has developed this horrible habit of not letting things be wrapped up. But like, if it's an anthology and you just continue like the heart of it, oh my god, I'm on board. But I don't think that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, we have to leave good enough along with that. My number 9 is Insecure. I fell off the Insecure train with season 2. D has heard me go on my tirade about season 2. It is one of the worst seasons of TV I've ever seen. But Insecure season 4 is really, really, really good. Issa really hit her stride with this season. It's the best season of the show, in my opinion. The evolution of the show Like you could feel the basically the characters grow with like real life Issa, and the things she tackled with this season, I thought they were like very mature. And we're kind of the same age. I feel like Issa is like a year or two older than I am, but I could really relate to a lot of like the themes in this season. So that's my number 9. My number 8 is only number 8 because I just finished this show yesterday. I text D. I was like, D, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but something told me to keep watching, and I watched it, and it's fantastic. I've been chewing on the finale for a while now, trying to figure out what I think about it, and the more I unpack it, I really love it. I May Destroy You, brilliant.
It's on my need to watch list.
Yeah, Michaela Cole and
I just want her to do everything. I want all the good things for her.
Everything.
So I'm so happy.
Whatever she wants to do, just let her do it. Just green light whatever she wants to do, because this show it resides in the gray, because that's where life is. It tackled some really provocative issues, but it does it in a way that says like, okay, this isn't right, this isn't wrong. You could be wrong and right at the same time. Good people could do bad things. Bad people can do good things. It's also a vehicle for like very good storytelling. There's one episode where she introduces a character, and you think this is going to be like a one-off character, but it turns out to be my favorite episode of the season. So yeah, shout out to Michaela Cole and I May Destroy You. For my number 7, I have to ask everyone a question. Do you remember the Geico Caveman sitcom?
Yes. I never watched it, but I remember, and I think I never watched it because I didn't realize it was actually going to be, like, I thought it was a joke that they were doing a show. And I realized, oh, wait, because didn't it get canceled pretty early too? Did it even make like a whole season?
So, and that's not my show, by the way, but I say that.
I was going to say,
no,
what year is it?
I have a good lead up to this. So, as you all know, I'm a big, come on, Mom. I'm a big soccer fan, and Michaela Cole is Nigerian, so her accent is more like Nigerian than British. But so everyone knows like I watch soccer, and so NBC bought the rights to Premier League, and they allowed Jason Sudeikis to do these skits. He's an American coach who was hired by a Premier League soccer team, and his name is Ted Lasso. It sounds terrible, but this show is created by Jason Sudeikis and Bill Lawrence, who created one of my favorite shows, Scrubs. I
should have known you were going
there. It's really such a touching show. Like I felt like dust coming out my eye, like with one episode. Like and the last episode is like I was cheering like I was like watching a real game. It's really like one of the most. Even if you don't like soccer, watch this show. I promise you'll love it. It's on Apple TV.
That's how it was with Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. Same reaction.
Because this is like no way. I don't know anyone that's into chess like that, but you were just like, oh, it was so good.
Yeah, so
that's how you know it's a good show when you can like act like chess is like that and that amazing.
Great segue, because my number 6 is the Queen's Gambit. I know nothing about chess. I will get you off the board if we're playing checkers, though. I know nothing about chess. I just know I like this show. Like, I know nothing about chess. So that's how you know it's good. That's how you know it's like transcended. If I know nothing about this game, but I was still like, it was like such an enthralling experience watching this show. Like I went through the show in like 2 nights, because I was just, yes, Mom, Jason Sudeikis from SNL. But yeah, so I went through this show like so quick because it was that good. Yeah, go ahead, D.
I just want to say, I wanted to add, I think the appeal for me for Queen's Gambit is that every character that I thought was going to be one thing ended up being something else.
Exactly.
And they did it a really good way too, because I just knew her mom was going to be awful.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of figured Jolene would be who she was, but the men in her life, I knew somebody was going to be awful. Like I just knew somebody was going to do something, but none of them were. And it feels good to finally see. And I know people hate to hear, but it felt good to see something that showed men that weren't trash, because I mean, finally, you know.
I was the same way. Because I have such bad trust issues. I was just like, and the whole time I was watching
and especially like the fact that they all rallied behind her in the end. It wasn't even like getting past the ego, even all of that. It was like, hey, this girl is it, and we've got to accept it. And not only do we accept it, we've got to let her know that she is, and we've got to push her to be everything she can be. And it was just beautiful to see. Outside of, just outside of the whole chess thing, just in general, the fact that she had so much support from all of these people just pushing her to be who she could be, even though she was, high out of her mind a lot of times, but still they supported her and helped her get there.
One of those shows that's just like excellent TV. It is just like all around excellent television. And I feel like you don't get like that kind of like feel or quality that often. It's just one of those things. It's like it doesn't have to be something you care about. It's just some good TV. Like it deserves all the recognition.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was trauma. Of course, her mom was trauma, but it wasn't torture porn, because a lot of TV.
It's so nice to see a woman. Yeah, it's like a woman that's not being traumatized for dramatic effect, and I feel like it's so rare nowadays, and like to the point where like you mentioned it, Dee, like you almost were expecting it. And I think that kind of speaks to how television is nowadays, but it really was just refreshing to see it, and I want more of that, quite honestly. So
we deserve like more like diverse stories and more like empowered women in our shows, and the Queen's Gambit really showed that.
And I will say, yes, I'm aware that any woman that has red hair in Hollywood, I apparently look like to people, so stop. I don't know if they have red hair. It's just like, no, okay, get it. Like you're just providing me Halloween costumes, but okay.
So yeah, my number 5 is and I wish any other year this would likely be my number 1, because this is one of my favorite seasons of the show, is Fargo. I don't even have words. If you're not watching Fargo, please go seek it. You the Coen brothers movie Fargo, but it makes the little Easter eggs that much sweeter. This season in particular drew influences from 2 very underrated Coen brothers films, A Simple Man. A Serious Man, and also Miller's Crossing, which is like a gangster movie they did back in the early 90s. So please go seek Fargo if you haven't. Number 4, dropped mid Panoramic, The Last Dance, a really great sports docuseries. And this docuseries did something interesting. If you would have just given me like a documentary about Michael Jordan's last championship run, cool.
Which exists already, yeah.
Which exists already, but they play with structure. So they did like time jumps in between, and that really brought the story together. So you can really see that this last championship run was almost like destined to be, because the way like the time jumps were and the way they spliced it together. Dee, are you scratching or are you raising your hand?
I'm asking. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to say. I just wanted to mention that I usually hate time jumps of any sort. I don't like flash forwards. I don't like flashbacks. I just usually don't like them. And it's okay if it's a situation where you're telling a story and then you go back for context. But I just don't like that the whole thing is back and forth, and you never know what time it is. And that was the case with The Last Dance, but I loved it. It was almost like
they set up like a film, like you were watching a movie.
Yeah, but it was like they knew, okay, well, I know this happened at this time, and I know we're talking about this right now, but this is going to be more important when we do the story about Rodman. So let's just save it for then. And it was just it worked really well.
It worked really well.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
And if you watched it in like the episodic series that it dropped instead of binging, I feel like it works even more. Honestly,
they left you hanging. They was like, "Nah, I know what happens in real life.
You know what happens. You're like, but I need to see this, even though you know. And I think the Rodman part was one of the best parts of the whole thing. It was. Honestly,
that's my favorite part.
What a style icon! First of all, it's like that's where like a lot of like the Gen Z girls are dressing like Dennis Rodman. When you realize.
Like Dennis Rodman was just misunderstood. Like he was already in 2020.
Like ahead of us. Can you imagine if like someone like no one has like that Dennis Rodman energy now? Like, but like they would be like it would be different. There, the amount of fan cams there would be.
Oh, I also wanted to add. I think that Dennis Rodman has always, marched to the beat of his own drum, which is beautiful. And I think there's something special about people who know who they are, regardless of what else is going on in the world, right? Like we're not anywhere near where we need to be as a culture, society, or whatever, with acceptance. And we were worse then. And Dennis Rodman was still like, I don't care what y'all say, what you
I'm gonna
think,
dye my hair whatever I want. I'm gonna dye cheetah print into my hair.
Right. I'm going to be
hair.
who I am. I'm gonna put on dresses, and you can ask me if I'm gay a million times, and a million times I'm gonna say no, this is just me. And it's just dope that you have that kind of self-awareness at any point. I just think it's awesome. And I love that they explored that.
Me too. So my number 3 is a show that I just liked the first season, but the second season is phenomenal. There is a Swedish rendition of Adele's "Hello," and saying that out of context, it sounds weird, but if you watch the show, it's like a tongue-in-cheek joke that actually works very well for the scene. It's Umbrella Academy season 2. Really, really, really good. Court, we're gonna bully you until you
I know. This week I'm off on Thursday. I'm gonna watch it.
But no, season 2 is phenomenal. Like season 1 is like cool, but season 2 is phenomenal. Please watch that.
Elliot Page did the thing that he was supposed to do.
Yes,
and
Elliot
it's
Page.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And every other cast member, I don't know if it's because we now know them as a family or if they're just great actors, but they work so well together that you forget that these people really did grow up together. That this script, they do really well. It's Courtney, watch it.
I know. It's on my list this week. That, and I'm starting The Wire too. I'm tired of being bullied.
Yes, you must. Like we won't let you rest until you watch those shows. So my second show, like I said, any other year would be a first. And I'm also going to go with a bit of a hot take. It's basically a prequel spinoff of my favorite show, and the show that's like, I think the greatest show of all time. If the Wire is like 1B, then Breaking Bad is 1A.
That's my other show. That's my other show, so don't say.
I'm not gonna say anything.
No spoilers.
No, yeah, because I want you to.
Because I'm one of the humans that hasn't seen Breaking Bad. I know.
Yeah, I want you to enjoy that, so I'm not going to spoil it for you. But Better Call Saul is that I think they've really perfected the storytelling with Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad is easily like the greatest show of all time, but they perfected the storytelling with Better Call Saul because just the way that they set up dialogue, just set up scenes. I'm just like, I wouldn't even think to like approach a scene like you just did. So it's brilliant because I was watching the finale once again. I won't say anything, and you think one thing is going to happen, because the entire season has been leaning to this one thing, but it's a misdirect, and I'm just like, that.
But it's a good misdirect.
It's a great misdirect. Yeah.
Because I just kind of hate when how stories try to like make it a big whatever, but there's not been any indication of it the whole time.
And that's the thing. This misdirect works because it's the one that was supposed to work. Like it was like there the entire time. But
I like those where it's like, oh man, how did I not see that? You only see
how did
it.
I not see that?
But but nowadays, like it's rare. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna like blindside people. But no, it's like I love like when seeds are planted, but you don't know when to look for them except for in retrospect, which makes it rewatchable. So,
is it overrunning or was it just a season finale?
That was the season finale. The last season of Breaking Call. It's Breaking Call Saul. The last season of Better Call Saul is coming. So the last season, the season 6 will be the final season.
So I need to catch all the way up. I need to binge Breaking Bad and then start. Oh God.
Okay.
All right.
So I should watch Better Call Saul before Snowfall.
No. Watch Breaking Bad first. Even though it's a prequel. Watch Breaking Bad first. Okay. Well, yeah. Start with
So when does season 6 drop? So I need to know how much time I've got.
It was going to drop like fall of this year, but I think production was pushed back, so I think it might be
So I don't have an excuse.
fall and winter. Yeah, you don't have an excuse.
So because we then at that point, if Dee and I can catch up, we can actually do a show on it.
Mhm. So my final show, I've been trying to take a peek at everyone's shows of the year list. This is a show that was acclaimed at the top of the year, but once again, a pandemic happened. I think people forgot about it, but I think it's one of the most fascinating pieces of TV that we've seen. It's a miniseries.
I'm so interested right now.
It's Devs.
Sorry. I'm looking at the best piece of television right now.
Oh, you talking about that? But yeah, so Devs, I can't talk about it without giving much away, but it's a sci-fi show on top of a murder mystery. That's all I can say.
Where is it on? What platform?
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
It's what is it? FX on Hulu?
Yeah, FX on
And
Hulu.
they call it FX on Hulu.
So if I have my mom's Hulu login, I can watch it.
Yes. So if you like Alex Garland's previous works, Annihilation and Ex Machina, then you'll like this. This is like a long form movie. It's 8 episodes, but it flows like a movie. The second, and D, I'm sorry you've had to hear me talk about this so much, but the second episode is what I would aspire to be if like I was created like a TV creator, because it opens with something. It opens with the end of the episode, but you don't realize it's the end of the episode until because you have no idea. Yeah, we have a guest on the show.
What about my top 10 shows? Peppa Pig, number 1.
Peppa Pig, Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Unikitty. It's Unikitty. Unikitty is the show.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh yeah. If you haven't seen Devs, please go seek out Devs. I promise you, it's amazing. The finale is going to like break your brain, because Dee and I reviewed the finale and we were just like, so like I said, I can't give you much because it would totally spoil the show for you. But yeah, that's my top show. But what I'm going to do now,
You had a good top 10.
Yeah, I had.
I'm not upset. That's completely understandable.
So yeah, I'm gonna hop into like some comments and just go into, because some people hit us up on Twitter and told us their favorite shows, so we're gonna get to those, and then to close the show, I'm going to assign everyone a very tough assignment. We can't leave this room until we pick a show that won the year, like a show that absolutely won the year, like ifs, ands, and buts. But before we get into that, we're gonna do some comments. So my mom says she likes Fargo and Lovecraft Country and The Boys and Mendo. We have Lee here who says Devs was incredible. Alex Garland's best. I agree with that. And then let's go to some Twitter comments.
Devs was like, it's again one of those things where you want to say, why didn't I see that coming? But there's kind of like no way you would have seen it. But once you do see it, it's like, of course. Like, of course, this is what it is. But it's really dope. If y'all like sci-fi, I think you really like Devs. What was it, 8 episodes or was it 6?
I think it was, was it 8 or was it 6 or 8? No, I can't remember if it was 6 or 8. I feel like it was 8, yeah. But it was
cool. It was really good. It's a love story too. It's a love story, sci-fi, murder mystery. I wrapped up.
So here's some shows that were dropped into our comments. P Valley, Queen's Gambit, of course. You're gonna see Queen's Gambit a lot. Power, Little Fires Everywhere. Once again, P Valley, Queen's Gambit, P Valley, Lovecraft Country, and Mandalorian, Power, Book of Ghosts, Insecure, Westworld Season 3, Ozark Season 3. That actually might be my letdown of the year, because I liked Ozark Season 2.
I forgot all about Westworld.
Yeah. And then shout out to Josh from Club Monster. He says Perry Mason, Fargo, Wretched, Patriot, and Treadstone. And Joe says Queen Gambit and The Last Dance. So I feel like there's an obvious answer here about what show won the year.
We have to hear from you.
Oh,
Is it
hold on,
Queen's
mom.
Gambit?
My number one was
Yeah.
Dev's, mom. It was Dev's. But yeah, so
Who won
and
the
so,
run?
so have you seen Queen's Gambit?
I have unfortunately not seen Queen's Gambit.
No.
No.
You would like it, so
I know, I'm off from work.
they bullied me into watching it, and because I'm like, I don't give a
We
fuck
are
about chess.
we are officially bullying
It's
you.
so
So
good.
to
It's
watch.
so
Yeah.
good.
It's on my list to watch, and I have so much time. Well, that's not true. I don't have a lot of time to watch it, but now that I'm off work this week, starting on Wednesday, it's literally the first thing I'm gonna watch. I want to,
and it flies by when you're watching it. It's like you don't know how much time you don't know. Like I'm like, because
It's
I
gonna
literally
pull
spent a
you
whole
in.
work day watching it.
and it's funny because I work within entertainment, so I like watch everything. That was like the one thing I'm like, I want to make sure my full energy's on it. Like I want to make sure I'm like watching this fully, and I was like, I have to make sure I have time for it, and then I kept forgetting. But yeah, I'm watching it this week, so you'll know as soon as I'm done.
Watch it. Okay, well then she's got the hardest one. So if for you, so since you haven't seen the Queen's Gambit, what wins the year?
Definitely the Comedy Stores I mentioned, because I really felt it was an amazing docuseries because it touched on every point. It went through history, it went through controversies, it went through every year when comedy in the 80s was changing. I just really liked it because I love documentaries. I think Courtney heard me talk about this week on social media.
We love docuseries, and like not a lot of people love docuseries, and like that's my genre is a docuseries because I have ADHD, so I can't sit through a whole documentary. So a docuseries, that's where it's at.
And I liked it because I really did feel like it wasn't talked about enough. And I liked the fact that it really touched on this nostalgic thing. I think during quarantine, I felt very nostalgic for things that I used to do in high school. I used to sit like in front of my computer at night, watch all Andy Kaufman sketches, Lenny Bruce. Like I would listen to everything. It goes through everything. I love Robin Williams, and I used to watch his stand-up. I love Chris Rock. I love, all these comedians. And it was really cool to see that and see how they felt about performing in this one space that's still there in LA. And I just really loved it, and I can't talk about it. Like I literally cannot talk about it enough. I would not stop talking about it after I finished it. I mean, the reason I liked it, I think it was just a well done docuseries because you took away so much from it. So that would be mine of the year. And I mean, I think Schitt's Creek comes in really close because it was really cool, to watch this big, like silly sitcom that you can have on the background, but watch really well developed characters at the end. And that's why I really liked it. Also cool to see some Jewish representation up there, which I really liked. So
also, Ron's mom,
my son is like,
yeah, I was laughing. I wasn't laughing at you though. If I was laughing at the comment, she said nobody had Tyler Perry shows. Of course not. No,
I'm gonna speak on that. Hold on. So I think the issue with some of the Tyler Perry shows are one, they're Tyler Perry shows, and two, a lot of them are on BET Plus now, and I'm not sure if a lot of people have BET, and that's not shade. I promise it's not shade. I'm just saying I don't know if people. Because
it's tough to access stuff.
So many things that so many streaming services now that you kind of like. If I keep buying all these streaming services, then why have cable? So that's the reason I don't have BET Plus, because I just refuse to get another streaming service. But I did watch Sisters because it's awful, and I sometimes like watching awful TV.
Hate watching.
Yeah.
See, this is where.
Mama, Devs is the show, DEVS. It's on Hulu, FX on Hulu. And if you like sci-fi /romance /murder mystery, you'll like it.
So this is where Ron's mom, you would be good friends with my mom because she would ask the same thing. If you want to talk about Tyler Perry shows, my mom's one of those people that loves to watch it, and she loves it. So yeah, my mom, who just is now watching just now. Good job, Mom, while we're ending. But she's one of those. Yeah.
So Corey, what won the year for you? Like this show was like the biggest cultural moment in your opinion. Like what won the year for you?
So cultural moment. I think
it doesn't have to be the best, but what I
don't like choosing one thing. So I'm not gonna subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to choosing one. I don't. So like the one that's like to me like the best was Queen's Gambit, obviously, but the one if I say culturally, I will have to say Lovecraft Country, because like we don't get black sci-fi ever, ever, and it not only is it black sci-fi. Yeah, I see the frowny face, Mom, but because you forgot, but we not only do we never see black sci-fi, but it's like with the black writers, and it's all black protagonists, and despite people. People always, it's the same thing with the boys. It's like, stop like sipping over a white supremacist just because it's a white woman. Stop it. What is wrong with you? Stop. What is that joke? Stop. But yeah, it's just, and like they didn't have to have a white protagonist. They didn't have to have a white savior. Like, and to me, like that's really just groundbreaking. Like there was that misstep with the Emmett Till bit, like, and I'm still not 100% comfortable, but I do love how Misha Green listens just to how she, didn't get full representation on Indigenous culture. She listened and she's like, yeah, that was a big mistake. So I think that that speaks a lot to me. But just look what happens when we let Black people tell stories, like how amazing it is. Of course, it's written by a white author or whatever, but it was adapted. Misha Green just did such an excellent job, and it's just, it shouldn't have to be groundbreaking, but it's just so outstanding in an anthology series. And I really want to see more from them. I would love to see it as an anthology. Please, Misha Green, please do it as an anthology. Don't tank this show, please. I'm begging you. It would be great if you continued down like different sci-fi routes, but especially, and also you don't see a lot of like Black voices. Of course, Jordan Peele changed this, but in horror either, because there were horror aspects, but you don't really see that. So I love seeing that shift now, and I hope we continue to see it as well. Like I think culturally, like Lovecraft, and not only that, it's like people were like, of course, like Twitter's an echo chamber, but people were like talking about Lovecraft Country, like the way that people would like talk about Game of Thrones, like, and I think that's one thing is that Lovecraft like took that spot that Game of Thrones had, like that golden spot, and people were talking about it, were watching it religiously. And a time that people like really want everything immediately, people were dedicated to this episodic drop, which it was slowly being lost. And I just think that's really beautiful. And like, I really think that was the cultural moment of the year.
Yeah, and let me echo that real quick, because I don't think he would mind me sharing this, but I have a his dad is like late 60s, early 70s. He grew up, he's very much of the Trekkie era, so anything sci-fi he's going to gravitate toward. He watched Lovecraft Country, and he loved the sci-fi aspect, but just what the Black people had to endure, like and once again, like late 60s, early 70s, like he was like, all of that happened while I was alive, and then my coworker's like, yeah, Dad. So what he did is he checked out literature to research this stuff. So I think that's an underrated aspect of Lovecraft Country. It was and entertainment can be powerful, because this show was also an educator while being entertaining. So I think that's because same with the Watchmen last year. Like, how many people didn't know about
Tulsa
until the Watchmen? So same with Lovecraft. Like this show was an educator. So I think, yeah, you really can't you basically can't just manufacture that type of cultural moment. Like it was truly like organic, seeing that happen like in real time. So yeah, it will probably be Lovecraft for me. D, what you got? What's your 20?
I'm cheating. I got a bunch. Okay, Lovecraft as far as
we don't subscribe to that, D. We don't subscribe. We don't.
We do what we want to do. I do what I want. Lovecraft as far as cultural is absolute. I mean, there's like no arguing with that. That's what it is. As far as what was way more than I expected to be, it's gonna definitely be Queen's Gambit, because you would have never convinced me that I would enjoy a movie about chess. And yes, it's more than chess, but it's a lot of chess. Like it is very much a show about chess. There are other things that are involved, but it's very much about chess. So it's like you can put it up there with like, I know we usually have sports movies, because people always ask the time, what's the greatest sports movie? But as far as the greatest sports TV show, it might be the Queen's Gambit. As far as what I did not expect, it was Queen's Gambit. For my mess, Love is Blind, hands down. Like that is
such good messy TV, like 2008 era TV that I missed. This just like mwah, it's mwah.
And HBO Max actually has another show called 12 Dates of Christmas by the same creator, and it is awful, guys. It is horrible. It is so bad because it
no.
is. There are three leads. There are three leads who go on these dates. They're in this castle in Austria. They go on dates and they're trying to get somebody to take. Like the whole point of the show is that they want to take somebody home for Christmas. Y'all, is awful. It is absolutely horrible, and I love every minute of it.
I have to watch that. And that's the thing I think about Love Is Blind is that like the timing. I think it would not have been as big because it's like that show dropped right at the beginning, and like that was the perfect I'm stuck in my house type show. Mm-hmm. And I think for me personally, the fact that it's in Atlanta and it's in my area of Atlanta, so I'm just like, I visit that far. I live by there. That's messy. I love it.
I lied. I got two more. Also unexpected was P-Valley because I went into watching P-Valley expecting it to be awful. Like I wasn't going to like it at all, but I actually did. But as far as feel good, I'm so happy that I went on the journey, and I'm sad that it's over, but I'm glad that it ended. Of course, it's Good Place. It's so good. Like I really want everybody to watch it because I just really, really the whole thing, because of course after season 1 you're like, how in the world are they gonna keep this going? Like what else is there? But they found a way, and it's great, and I think everybody should watch it, and that's mine.
Absolutely, I agree. It was great. It was so good.
It was just good. It was just like
a good year for TV, I think.
Yeah, honestly. It was a great year.
The funniest part with The Good Place is that I had to keep reminding myself, I'm like, that is Ted Danson. Like, that's him. Like, that is Ted. Just like when I watch, have y'all seen Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
Every 5 minutes, I have to say, yo, that is Iron Man. That is Robert Downey Jr. That is Robert Downey.
What do you mean?
Mom, Ryan and AJ are on this show. I mean, no, they're not going to be on every show.
Yeah, we have a rotating. Yeah, we have a rotation.
Where are my kids? Where are my children?
Okay, I have a question. Is there a show that is not in your top 10 that is just something that you want people to watch, even if it's just bad? Like you just want people to see it, or it could be good too, but it just didn't make your top 10, or it's bad and you just think people should see it because why not?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna go to my notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to my notes.
I've watched a lot of TV this year, but
you watch a lot of TV. Like, don't be cerebral. Don't think like, oh, my people are gonna talk about. Like, don't just off the top of your head. Like, what is a show that you're like, people should watch this just because I don't want to be the only person that has watched it?
Well, I actually have it was in my top 10, but the reason I liked Emily in Paris, it felt like an escape. It was I was watching it and I was like, this is so dumb. This is so bad. But by the end, I was like, I want season 2. It was kind of nice.
I hated it so badly. But I also have because I know France, I've been to France and I know no French. I think to me that it just made it unbearable. And also I didn't go to Paris, but Parisians are some of the worst people. And it's just I couldn't get into it. It's just everything that I hate in a show, but not in a good way.
The reason I think I love Sex and the City, it's the same creator. So it was that same feeling to me. And then my mom made a funny joke. My mom's like, I liked it because Donald Trump wasn't president while I was watching it. And I was like, but I liked it.
Good point.
It felt like an escape. There was no pandemic in the show. It just kind of felt like something dumb to put on. It's like watching those really bad CW shows where you're kind of just there for the ride, kind of train wreck. It was just a nice escape. I felt that way. I've watched many CW shows over the year, and I always felt that way. But that was kind of it was a nice escape. That's the only reason it made it into my top 10, because I was like, this is easy. I don't have to think while I'm watching this. It's just whatever.
Sometimes you just want to turn it off and just just like you said, just escape. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to try to figure out what's happening in the end. It's just gonna be almost like the Lifetime Christmas movies. They show you the poster, you know who's gonna be together by the end of it, and you watch it anyway. Because why not?
Exactly.
Babe, what was that show?
Raised by Wolves. What's that on?
All right, so that is on HBO Max. That was a show by Ridley Scott, and I did not watch it because it looked terrible. And
your mom said that.
Yeah. So thank you for confirming that.
It was horrible.
Sorry. There was this one
we
show on
pretty much
Netflix.
have the same taste, so I feel like I would hate it too. But yeah, Corey, go ahead.
There was this one. I was just asking Michael because there was this one show on Netflix, and it seemed like I'm gonna have to look back. The concept seemed so interesting, and it was about like people. I don't think it was a documentary, and it was like I think it was supposed to be like about like the psychology or sociology of people or something. And like the first one was about like this like sex type thing. I forget what it was. It's like yoga and like appropriation of yoga, and they almost make it about sex. And then I was like, oh, is it gonna all the whole thing about me with this? And it was so, and like it was the first episode was so bad that it was intriguing. And then I can't remember what the next episodes were. They weren't even about that. And I'm just like, okay, this is just bad. I'm gonna have to look up the name because I'm just like, do you know what I'm talking about? So I feel like you've seen it.
It wasn't The Mind Explained, was it? Because I remember seeing
like that, but it was the first episode was like about like the whole like yogi type culture, and people are like traveling. White people are traveling to like Mexico for these white yogi people, and it's just like I was interested. I was like, okay, I can hate watch this, but then the next one wasn't even about that, and I'm like, now it's just bad. I can't even hate watch this. But like I would want someone to hate watch it with me. I couldn't even make it past 3 episodes. I'm gonna have to look up the name because like I was like live tweeting it. It was just like how bad it was. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I forced Michael to watch an episode with me because I'm just like I need you to mentally process this with me so I know I'm not losing my sanity. Hold on,
Ronnie. What was the name of that show you said that had the guy from Fargo?
Oh, Gamora.
It's on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, it is. That's where I saw it. Okay, I got it mixed up with Prime. It is on HBO Max. So yeah, it's really good.
I'll try to watch that. Okay, there is this show, you guys, and it didn't come out this year. I think there's going to be a season 3. It's called Monogamy. The channel is called UMC, which is Urban Movie Channel. So you already know, like from the title of the channel, you already know. But the show is pretty much about like a wife swap. There are 4 couples who are having issues, so they do a wife swap. Well, a couple swap, y'all. It's so bad, but I want everybody in the world to watch it so that we can talk about it.
I hear you, but I'm just.
I'm sorry. I found out the name of the show. I was just talking with Michael.
I was like, Courtney, are you okay?
It's called Unwell. It's so bad. Unwell. The first episode is about essential oils, and like that was interesting. And it was bad because it was on Netflix. In the first episode, I was intrigued because like one of the essential oil people lives like 10 minutes from me, and I'm like, and I was like, I recognize this place, and I'm like, I know where that house is. You have to watch it. And I was just like, the whole time I was horrified because I'm like, this guy's 10 minutes from me. And then the second one was about tantric sex. And that was the one it was like about like pretty much like white people like going to like see like in Mexico. And it's just like really problematic, but it's also you hate watch. And then every episode after that is just horrible. But the first 2 were like really intriguing. Like the first one I really liked, but the people that live 10 minutes from me, I never want to see them at Publix. I feel like they're the type that shop at Whole Foods, and I can't afford to do that regularly anyway. But I'm like, I think they go to the same places I go to, and I don't want to go to jail.
Is that Gwyneth's show? Didn't she have a show?
No, she had Goop.
She has a
is
brand.
That the show?
No, that's not the show. No, the name of the show
is Goop.
The name of the show is Goop.
It's basically supposed to be about like the wellness industry, but like, oh yeah, the third one's about like bodybuilders who drink breast milk. And then the next episode is about fasting. The next one is like, I don't know that. And then it's bee sting therapy, which is someone who is allergic to bees. Like that, that was almost like triggering for me to watch. I'm like, I'm not going to watch them. But like the first weird acupuncture. No, it's like you get stung by bees for that. I don't know.
But is the theory that
I don't know. Like I'm getting like chills for it because like for me it means I'm gonna die. But the first one is like essential oils, and if you see the people that are in Marietta, that's 10 minutes from my apartment. And I'm just like, I remember Michael and I had this hilarious moment where we're like, that looks familiar. And then when we saw it said Marietta, we were like, I think it was like Kennesaw. But watch Unwell, but not because it's good, but because it's so bad. But don't watch past episode 2.
Did any of you watch The Undoing?
No.
It's on my list.
I can't believe
Okay,
there's a
I
10
won't
minute
ruin it. I won't ruin it.
I mean,
It's
I saw
exactly
everybody
what you think
talking
it
about the
is, though. I'll
ending.
say
So,
that.
yeah.
No, I haven't. But yeah, I really
You saw
actually
it?
No, I saw people talking about it and how disappointed it was. I was like, well, that's what you get for watching.
see. Look,
I mean,
Ron's mom and my mom
there's
don't
a
need to become. Go ahead. I was like, I was
No, I was
telling my
just
mom
gonna say
to
there's a
become
scene
friends
that's
because we're
very traumatic.
conversating.
It's very traumatic, and it's not worth. it's very. It's bad. There's one scene in the whole show that's just like so bad that I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I never want to see that again.
Can I say something, Mom? You like The Crown because you had an unhealthy obsession with Princess Diana. Stop.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
She made me stay up for the funeral. I was a child, and she's like, well, "You need to be more upset," and I didn't even know what was going on.
I loved the Crown was excellent.
I love it.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of people say it's
I'm
really
outnumbered
good.
here, so
It
never
was
mind.
good. It was good, but the thing is, I couldn't make it through just because I don't get the obsession. Like, I don't know. I don't get my mom has an obsession, but like again, my mom had Princess Diana's haircut for 20 years, and I had to bully her out of it.
Well, so give me a synopsis of Crown.
Yeah.
It's really just all the British history. I mean, it's really accurate. I mean, but the only problem I had with it, and it's because it's British, it's just a little drier. It's a little harder to get into. I was only watching it for Diana, though. I was like, that was my reason to getting into season 4. And my mom watches it. My grandma watches it. I wanted to talk about it with them, and I liked it. So I thought the acting was really brilliant. I mean,
Yeah, it is good acting. But
she is great. She's great.
it kind of helped me to understand because I feel like everyone our mom's age is obsessed with Princess Diana. Like I was seeing on Twitter about moms, like Nigerian moms that had her in like the family photo album and stuff. Like it's like across cultures. Like moms just loved Princess Diana. Like she was a family member to that point. So, but yeah, like Ron's mom and my mom, y'all need to be friends on Facebook.
Yeah,
I just saw a parody.
yeah.
There was a guy doing a parody, and he kept talking about napkins, and I just fell out. Like I can't see it now because he just kept saying, "So you want to talk to me about napkins?" And I'm like, "What?" But it was hilarious. I'm like, "Well, maybe I can watch it." But
it's good.
So-
Like the thing is, if you want, especially I watched it to hate watch because you can't even say the name Charles in front of my mom, and she just like she just like twitches in her face. Like she's gonna laugh because it's true. Like if you just like the name Charles to her is so tainted because she hates that man so much, right, Mom? Right? You hate him so much. See, exactly. Like she's like, I feel like Charles is one of those people. If my mom sees him, it's like my dad with Tommy Tuberville. My mom with Prince Charles is on site if she ever sees. But like I feel like my mom would yank Camilla by the hair if she ever saw her. Like that's how I'm sure a lot of people's moms feel that. Ron, did you watch it?
The Crown?
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching with Tammy, and I was like, "So when the dragons come, and like, so this is it? Like, this is the show?" Because look, I could not care less about the royal family. Like, I'm sorry,
That's
like,
my
it's
thing,
just,
but like I do think it's intriguing to I like to hate watch people and just like I do hate Charles and I watched it knowing that the royal family just hates the show now.
wait, so Courtney, you watched the whole thing, or you watched some?
I watched it because my mom forced me
So
to.
everybody watched it but me. Okay, great.
But my mom forced me to against my will. So
That's kind of how I felt. Like I don't like any of the royal stuff. Didn't care when the weddings were televised like that, but I just liked the history aspect of it. And
go ahead.
you like I was never, I don't know. I was just like
I watched the Diana season kind of and juxtaposed it to how they're treating Meghan Markle is the lens that I watched it from. Cause like it's very similar except for like with Meghan it's worse because she's black. So I think that was like very interesting. And I think they probably took a lot of elements from that as well, but how they're pretty much doing the same thing to her. So
mostly it was me for watching it. I liked the history. I wasn't always like obsessed. I wanted to kind of know more because again, I studied political science all within that political sphere. And also I love Claire Foy and I love the actors that are all in it. They're really talented. John Lithgow is like a phenomenal.
Charles Dance is in it too.
So
and I was like, I was like, okay, anything I know Charles Dance is in, like I trust it as a show, except for the last. You know what? Like I'm not even gonna say in Game of Thrones because he was dead when it started to get bad. So like anything that Charles Dance is in, like I just trust because it's usually good.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama Bird, you have to watch The Good Place first.
Yeah, you have to watch The Good Place.
That's what we're bullying Mama Bird to watch The Good Place. We're bullying Soph to watch Queen's Gambit. Courtney, you already know what you got to watch. Ronnie, what are you supposed to watch?
I'm just saying, Mom, would you not?
Everything. I watched everything.
No, that was something you didn't watch. Did you watch The Politician?
Oh no, I haven't seen The Politician.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, I'll watch The Politician then.
So, Mom, I was going to say, Mom, would you yank Camilla by the hair if you ever saw her in public and there were no bodyguards? Yes or no? You know the answer. Don't lie. But yeah, like I said, I do.
Show, or what was your show? Everybody needs to watch, Ronnie.
Okay, so I got to show every. What was Courtney's?
Mine was Unwell.
Oh, okay. Ronnie, what's yours?
Which y'all have to watch because it's so bad. Please, I want you to watch the first 2 episodes. I'm begging.
All right, so here's my show. I feel like everyone should watch because I feel like I'm the only one watching it. And then I'll toss out a question to everybody right before we close. So my show that I feel like everyone needs to watch. I feel like I'm the only one watching it. Is Search Party.
I keep hearing people talk about it.
Yeah, I do as well.
Search Party is really good. It's because when Search Party came on, I think I was like in that part of like my late 20s where I was feeling that millennial type existential dread, and I could really relate to Search Party because it's basically it's a mystery show, but it's also about like just obsession of like things that go viral and how they spiral out of control. And it's kind of like a parody of true crime culture. So yeah, I think if you like that, you'll like Search Party. But my question to everyone is HBO Max. So yeah, all the seasons are
which is on Roku Max. Now, which is finally on Roku.
It's on Roku now. But my question to everyone before we close, Soph kind of alluded to this. So what are we looking forward to in 2021? It could be a new show or a new season. So what are you looking for in the new year? So if you can, I guess, expound upon your answer, even though you gave yours already.
I mean, I love as I mentioned, the American Crime Story series. I think we talked about at the beginning is so brilliant. I mean, season 1, the O.J. Simpson trial, every actor that was cast was so accurate. I think John Travolta, that was like the best performance he's done in a really long time. It just, the way that it's structured, I didn't really like Versace as much. I thought it was okay, but I loved it.
I loved the Versace one.
I loved Darren Criss, but I think Lady Gaga should have been who Penelope. I think they should have switched roles. I think it would have been better. I have a lot of opinions on that. But I'm excited for season 3 of America. If it happens, I think it says 2021 on IMDb. I check it every day to see if anyone knew it was added. But I wonder because they have everyone on there right now but Hillary Clinton. So I'm like, who are they going to cast to play, in the Bill Clinton scandal? I think it's going to be Lily Rabe because if he's going to pick his American Horror Story cast, that would make the most sense because Sarah Paulson's already someone else. That was like, I was like, oh, it's going to be Sarah Paulson. It wasn't.
Sarah's going to be in there. That's a given.
Yeah.
She's in there.
Oh yeah, it looks great. It looks like a great cast so far. Just excited to see Beanie Feldstein as Monica Lewinsky. I'm excited to see how Ryan Murphy takes it because season 1 was so like some of the best TV I've ever watched. I rewatched it with my boyfriend. Was like, you need to watch this. He really liked it. It was so accurate. It was just so good. I can talk all about season 1, but I'm really excited to see what season 3 will bring of American Crime Story. I'm ready.
Yes. Season 1, like you said, I didn't watch season 2. Season 1 was magnificent. It really
was. One I think we enjoyed because Michael, like the Miami aspect, like he really enjoyed that bit, but like I liked it. But I always kind of found like that lifestyle like fascinating and just the whole aspect. And I liked how they didn't just focus on Versace's murder, but the fact that it was like basically a serial killing. And I like the fact that they didn't just focus on that. That was good. And yeah, Darren Criss is very good.
Oh, he was great. I've been by the Versace mansion because I used to go to school right by Miami. So
that's right, because you went to school at FAU. Duh.
Yeah, but yeah, the Versace. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't. I think season 1 was like the best.
Because I think like Michael's parents have like a condo in Miami Beach, so he's like, I know exactly where that is.
I know exactly where it is too. Yeah, it's literally like I remember driving by it like a few times. I'm like, oh, I know where this is.
But
so Cora, what are you looking forward to
I'm stealing Soap's answer. I'm stealing because I do love that series too. So I'm stealing Soap's answer. I think it's gonna be like really I think it's gonna be really good. They don't miss.
Definitely.
So
I was just laughing at your mom's take. I was laughing at your mom's take.
No, he was the weakest link of that season.
Yeah,
Everybody else, but then again, it's so hard to play OJ, so he kind of had a hard task.
I'm not black.
I'll give it to
OJ. I thought he did a good job playing it. He's just, I mean, the character just sucked. For me, what am I looking forward to? I think I'm just looking forward to the ones that I know what that I'm hoping are coming back, and that's Atlanta and Insecure. Atlanta specifically, and I don't know if it's coming back or not. But,
is it?
But if it does, I'll be really, really excited about it. Well, the thing with Atlanta is that they've already said that they're filming 3 and 4 pretty much in tandem, right? Like they're going ahead to film them, and then they'll just release them, as time permits. So I'm hoping that happens next year, at least season 3. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. But if we don't get it, I mean, I won't be surprised because Donald does what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer, one of my favorite directors is Michael Mann. If you're not familiar with his work, he made Collateral, the Miami Vice TV show, and the movie. We won't talk about the movie.
Are they going to be that dark?
Insider. It's probably going to be that dark, but so he's. I don't mean
like the tone. I mean like the actual. Visual.
No, like he shoots everything dark.
The brightness all the way up at her TV.
I love it though. I love it. But he
look at my mom's answer. I was
looking forward to Trump leave the White House. I'm looking forward to Trump leave the White House. That could be a good show. It's going to be an excellent show.
It's going to be an excellent show.
Yeah. It only needs one season though, but yeah. Right. So Michael Mann is creating. He's adapting a book called Tokyo Vice, and of course it takes place in Tokyo. It's about an American journalist who goes to Tokyo to investigate the criminal underworld. Ansel Elgort is starring in it, and Ken Watanabe, who is like, I hate to say this, but they really need to cast a wider net. He's the Japanese guy. If you need a Japanese guy in your movie, even though we can find some more Japanese, yeah. So you know Ken Watanabe, trust me, you do. But it's about an American journalist going into the Tokyo underworld to investigate, and it sounds awesome. I love Michael Mann, and yes, his movies are like dark, but I love the way they look visually. So that's what I'm looking forward to in 2021. Tokyo Vice. We gotta get better TVs, like that episode of Game of Thrones when they caught all those poor because they said when we said our TVs are too dark.
Because like I had to watch it, like we had to turn off every light in the apartment, and I turned it to brightness, and you're just like this the whole time. This is how you had to watch the episode.
That episode was ashy because it came. I think it came on before an episode of Watchmen. The episode was ashy. Nah, it was ashy.
It was. I noticed that there was a difference between the episode, the way it aired on HBO, and the way it aired on HBO Go. Because I watched it. This
is what you get for watching it on HBO Go. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I used my dad's DirecTV password.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. But yes, Cobra Kai. Where are my kids? My kids running around the house saying Cobra Kai. Yes, I'm excited about Cobra. I don't know if y'all watch Cobra Kai. I meant to say it, but yeah, because we used to be. It was on YouTube. It was like a YouTube series, and then they finally took it to Netflix. Thank goodness, because I wasn't about to buy a YouTube subscription. I'm sorry, and I'm so happy they did because I loved it. So I'm excited about Cobra Kai too. I saw the trailer the other day, and it's going to be great.
Okay. All I want to say is now that I remember it exists, I just need y'all to watch the first and second episode of Unwell so that I can. No, but seriously, like, because I need someone to process that with me mentally.
No, sorry.
Please.
You should not force that on
Mama Bird, when you watch The Good Place, I think you'll love it too because your son is pretty much cheating. You'll see him in the show.
I am cheating.
So there you go.
I'm cheating. I put the peeps in the shell.
Well, that's for me, I think. Yeah.
My homework for our moms is to add each other. My homework for our moms is to add each other on Facebook. Just do it.
Yeah,
Get
so
it
Mama
over.
Cindy and my mama add each other on Facebook. I think you two will like each other. But that's all we have for this show. Thanks for watching. If you watched, so thanks for joining us. You have anything to plug before we get out of here?
I don't have anything to plug. If you want to follow me on Instagram for all of my movie hot takes, so far
Yeah, they're so good.
I do a series called Peak Cinema every week where I ask people, or I'm going to be switching it over to more so everyone can see it. It was a little more restricted where I ask about movies every week, and maybe a podcast coming soon where we're trying.
Her boyfriend has the worst movie takes, and Ryan, if I see you ever again, it's on site because of how bad this movie takes are. And I'm just like, I don't like. I like your boyfriend as a person, but when I read them, I don't like. Anytime it's like, because she's like, "Is this a good movie?" It's like, "Is this peak cinema? Yes or no?" And then like, I'm like, I know that one vote is Ryan. I know that one vote is Ryan.
Hated Ella Enchanted, like. Clearly, he's wrong.
A good movie, like a good classic movie, and he's like, "No." And I'm just like, yeah, a typical man answer. Don't like that's why you don't have free, that's why you don't deserve free speech rights.
Hey. So, D, do you have anything to say before we get out of here?
No. It is the end of the year, y'all. It's the end of 2020, and we made it. And however you made it, and I'm proud of you. I mean it. And whatever you're doing, do it. Whatever parent you're being, if your child is smiling and happy, then good for you. All the people who have lost loved ones, I'm sending all the love I can to you because I know it's tough, but we love you. I am proud of you. And I hope that the rest of this year and all the rest of the years to come are magnificent and that they are the best days and years of your life.
All right. That's a great note. Court, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, just to add on to that, because I know a lot of people were like, oh, the top 3 things that you did that was a big accomplishment. Even if you didn't have a big accomplishment this year, if you just survived, that's an accomplishment. So don't beat yourself up. Because like this year, like we're going to go ahead and say it, this year does not count. Anything this year that happened this year does not count. It was an excellent year for TV, but everything else, it was just terrible. So just like nothing count. A whole pandemic happened. We're in a recession right now. So just they're sending us $600 for crumbs. But yeah, just you survived. You really should be proud of that at this point. Because quite literally a lot of people unfortunately have not. So we're gonna make it. We're almost there. 2021 might be a hard start, but like my mom said, we got a good show starting on January 21st.
We got one thing. We fixed at least one thing.
We got one thing.
Got one thing.
So right. Yeah, that's a perfect segue to close out our week of 2020. Tomorrow, join us for I'll call this a
3-hour episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be like it might be a 24-hour episode. We're gonna recap the year. It's going to be a year in review episode. There's plenty to talk about.
I'm gonna be drinking.
If you see this feed rolling for like 28 hours, it's because we have a lot to talk about. So
we're
join
all
us tomorrow.
ranting, yeah.
Same channel, same time, 7 p.m. Yeah, go ahead.
So thanks for coming on. So
thanks. So we definitely gotta have you on again. We'll be expanding. We'll be doing more movie stuff. So we'll definitely have to have you on in the future. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we're out of here. Goodbye.
Peace.
Yeah.